Earlier today, we talked about the importance of a business knowing its customer base, or when it comes to the business of entertainment and television, it's extremely important for you to be in touch with your audience. What is your target audience? Who are you marketing your product or your show to? If you're selling purses and high heels, you're going to market your product towards women. If you're a sports league, you're going to be marketing towards men. If you're selling rakes and shovels, you want to market your products to the identifiers on Twitter. Look at the handle on that shovel. It would look really good next to me in bed where I could properly use it. All of these questions relate to the identity of your business. What is your identity? When a business or an entertainment entity doesn't have an identity, the struggle will be inevitable. We have talked about the struggles of Major League Baseball relating to their lack of identity. Over the last 7 or 8 months, we've also discussed the struggles at CNN. I don't want to say CNN is knocking on death's door. I mean, they're in much better shape than a network like OAN. I just saw the other day, OAN has essentially been thrown off cable television. But in the 40-year history of the network, I don't know if there's ever been another time period where CNN has struggled as bad as they are struggling today. Much like the NBA, CNN only makes headlines when they're involved in scandals. Rarely do they generate news over something said on their airwaves. When I pull up my news feed every morning, I'll see headlines generated from the night before on Fox News or MSNBC. Sometimes I'll see headlines from ESPN over something one of their many dumb fucks said on the air. But it is becoming increasingly rare that I ever see CNN in the headlines. In the history of cable news, I don't know if we have ever seen a fall from grace like we have seen the last year with CNN. First quarter, ratings were down 90%. In 12 months, CNN lost over 2 million viewers in prime time. Going into last summer, executives at CNN began to notice a steep decline in ratings for one of their stars, America's favorite fruit, Don Lemon. I know this is hard to believe, but January 2021, Don Lemon was consistently pulling in over 3 million viewers. Now, most of this interest came from the January 6th riots, where Don Lemon would routinely break down in tears over the end of our democracy. Oh, I'm in so much pain. Imagine how scared AOC is right now, being exposed to normal people. The stress is too much for me to manage. Chris, please come to my office and play with my lemons. 5 months later, ratings for CNN Tonight with America's favorite fruit, Don Lemon, down 77%. Now, for most networks, this would be a signal to change, whether that's changing host, changing direction, changing content. You change something. What did CNN do? Watch this for yourself.
So earlier, I told you I had an announcement, and I do. It's been really, really great. This is the last night that we'll be CNN Tonight with Don Lemon. So I appreciate all the years of CNN Tonight with Don Lemon, but changes are coming, and I will fill you in.
Okay, now you see that clip. What are you thinking? Maybe you're thinking that CNN and Don Lemon are parting ways, or maybe he is moving into a new time slot on the network. Maybe he's taking some time off. He mentioned that changes are coming. Maybe they're bringing in a co-host. Whatever the case may be, the intent behind doing this was to generate buzz for the network, which is a very slippery slope, especially when you go about doing it like this. Now, this was aired on a Friday night. What were the big changes come Monday? CNN Tonight became Don Lemon Tonight. That was it. They changed the name of the fucking show. That was it. Now, naturally, this caused a further decline in the ratings. Clearly, the dumbasses at CNN didn't know this at the time. People don't like being lied to. People don't like to be played for a fool. A network that used to be known as the most trusted name in news has now become known for constantly lying to their audience. Yesterday, the New York Times released a report on the current state of CNN, more specifically, the financial state of the network. For the first time in many, many, many years, CNN is going to report revenues under $1 billion. Most of the time when a company is declining financially, executives are not going to admit it, just like they're not admitting it right now at CNN. Now, I know I've said some negative things about my former employer on here in the past, but I will give them credit for one thing. During the height of the Fauci in 2020, they gave us notice 6 months in advance that we could possibly see a cut in our pay. Most companies would not do that. They'll tell you everything is fine before they stick the broom up your ass and tell you to ride it out the door. If you're working for a company and you suspect that they're struggling financially, you got to be on the lookout for the signs. For example, primetime ratings declining another 27%. Hundreds of millions of dollars wasted on a streaming service that lasted all of 3 weeks. I would love to know who at CNN thought it was a great idea to build a streaming service around Jamel Hill and Rex Chapman. All they had to do was call me. We have extensively covered two of the biggest, huge, embarrassing failures right here on the channel. I mean, look at these faces behind me. Do you want to look at either of those faces as you're eating dinner at night or laying down to go to bed? Jamel Hill shares more of a resemblance with Beetlejuice than the face of a major network. Another sign to look for, budget cuts. Cuts in travel expenses, layoffs, cuts in office expenses, refusing to cover events like the Platinum Jubilee with Queen Elizabeth. All of these signs are happening right now at CNN. But don't worry, have no fear. Chris Light, the guy that took over for Jeff Zucker if he was busted banging the shovel in the utility closet, Chris Light has a master plan. Ooh, it's a damn good plan too. Step 1 was hiring his longtime friend Chris Marlin as a consultant. KC, who the fuck is Chris Marlin and why was he hired? Hell if I know, I wish I could give you a valid reason. From what I can tell, the only reason he was hired is because they share the same first name. Chris Marlin has as much experience running a major network as you and I do. None. Oh, but he's been cranking out the ideas to help increase revenue. These are some great ideas too. Idea 1, we should strike deals with major tech companies like Microsoft and Google. Yeah, that's a great idea, Chris. I'm sure every network on television wants to make deals with billion-dollar tech companies. But here's the thing. Advertisers don't just give free money to TV networks. They expect a return on their investment. The only way for them to get a return on their investment is people are watching the network. I don't know if you've seen the ratings. No one's watching CNN. But that's okay. According to Chris and Chris, they have a solution to this problem. We are going to sell advertisers on our pristine brand instead of sheer audience size. What? Are you out of your fucking mind? What pristine brand? The CNN brand is dead. Of the 3 major cable news networks, CNN is by far the least trusted. I cannot believe you would use pristine and CNN in the same sentence. That's the equivalent of calling the WNBA dump pristine. What is pristine about the dump? Well, KC, they have very clean porta potties. Idea 2, we should expand our e-commerce business through CNN Underscored. Now, for those that don't know, CNN Underscored is a place where businesses release test products into the market. Now, while this is a somewhat great idea in theory, it's not going to make up the $300 million deficit at CNN. Idea 3, and I saved the best idea for last. Ooh, this is one of the best ideas I have ever heard from an executive in television. Are you ready? We are no longer going to focus on television ratings. This is what every dump says when their ratings are in the shitter. Remember a couple of years ago when the NBA was setting record low ratings in the playoffs? Ratings no longer matter. The networks, they don't care about television ratings anymore. That is so outdated. Everyone likes to claim that ratings don't matter when they're not drawing an audience. That's like owning a grocery store and saying stocking food doesn't matter. In the business of television, ratings are the only thing that matters. There's only one way for a television network to generate the bulk of their revenue: selling ad spots. It's impossible to demand top dollar for ad spots when no one's watching your channel. CNN has two major problems right now: lack of star power, lack of identity. The two go hand in hand. Networks, they will take on the identity of their biggest stars. When you think of MSNBC, you think of Rachel Maddow. When you think of Fox News, you think Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity. When you think of CNN, what name comes to mind? The network is going through an identity crisis. MSNBC attracts the woke shit fucks. Fox attracts the normal people. CNN, stuck in the middle. They're not conservative enough for Fox viewers, and with Chris Light wanting to shift the mentality, they're not going to be woke enough for the Twitter virgins. Like I told you guys in previous videos, CNN is in desperate need of a star. I'm not talking about Chris Wallace. I'm talking about an actual star, and they need to find him fast. The network is no longer controlled by Turner, it's controlled by Warner Media. Many times when companies merge or they're bought out, the first thing they do is cut cost. Warner Media, they are looking to slash $3 billion from their budget immediately. What was one of the first things they did? They cut CNN Plus. Now, am I saying they're going to cut CNN too? No. Is it possible though? Yes. You guys remember that old wrestling company, WCW? WCW had been on the Turner networks for so many decades that no one thought that they would ever go off the air. What happened? AOL and Time Warner merged, and within 3 years, WCW ceased to exist. Same thing could happen with CNN. If they don't find an identity, it will happen. In the cable news landscape, where is CNN's place? I don't know, you tell me. Also, give me your reason as to why CNN continues to decline in the ratings and decline in revenue. What do you think, if anything, what do you think could save the network? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.